Welcome to the You on the Camino de Santiago podcast. This podcast is for and about first-time pilgrims walking the pilgrimage routes in Spain, France, and Portugal. With your host, guide and longtime pilgrim, Nancy Reynolds of the Camino Experience. You may remember my guest today from episode 109, which released back in April this year. Jarrett and Amy were headed out to walk the Camino Frances together as a couple, and now they are back to share their story. Hi, this is Nancy, and I had the pleasure of meeting up with Jarrett and Amy in Spain, not just once, but twice. Our first meetup was in Pamplona, my favorite Camino city, where I got to introduce them to the local pincho scene. The second meetup was a week later, 450 kilometers west, in the village of Santa Catalina de Somoza. If you're quick with math, you will realize that we didn't all walk from Pamplona to Santa Catalina. Rather, there was a train and a rental car involved. You'll get the whole story momentarily. Before we get to Jarrett and Amy, though, I want to mention that I have just announced the dates when I will be on the Camino Frances leading my Camino Experience groups in 2026. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, then you already know that each year in May and September, I lead a group of 10 pilgrims from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Pamplona. Now, that doesn't sound like a very long walk, but that is just the start. Anyone who has already walked one of the Camino routes knows that the most daunting part of walking the Camino is getting started. Getting ready, getting packed, getting to your starting point, taking those first few steps on the trail, and those first few days when you haven't yet found your rhythm on the trail. But then after a few days, you settle into the experience. You connect with other pilgrims, and you feel a sense of strength and confidence coming over you. On the Frances route, all that usually happens by the time you get to Pamplona. I've seen it with hundreds of first-time pilgrims, over nearly 20 years walking the Frances route, and by leading 16 groups of pilgrims from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Pamplona. That's why my groups and I part ways in Pamplona. Simply put, my pilgrims don't need me after Pamplona. Still, the group stays in touch using WhatsApp so they can support each other and connect with me if they have questions. If getting started is the most daunting part of walking the Camino, returning home is the hardest part. That's why my Camino Experience groups receive additional support starting in Sarria, to assist with the transition into Santiago and then on home. And new for 2026, everyone who joins one of my groups will receive a 1-year membership to our new pilgrim community, La Terraza, where they will find the support they need to bring home the Camino experience and keep the magic and spirit of the Camino alive in their daily lives. Starting the Camino with a group isn't for everyone. For some people, leaving home on their own, traveling solo, and showing up in Saint-Jean and being alone in a foreign land is an essential part of their pilgrimage. But I can tell you from my experience over the years, there are many people who will never walk the Camino simply because they don't want to get started alone. If that's you, this is your chance to make your Camino dream a reality. The other thing I've noticed is that for many pilgrims, walking the Camino is about so much more than just finding the right boots, backpack, and rain gear and walking the trail. It's about the entire experience, from uncovering the reasons why the trail is calling you, to mindfully planning your itinerary and how much time to take for the pilgrimage. From setting intentions for the journey to establishing spiritual or contemplative practices for the walk. and from preparing for the mental and emotional challenges of walking the Camino to intentionally bringing the experience back home. Why? So that all that time and money you invested, all those kilometers you walked, actually translate into your reasons for walking the Camino being alive and expressed in your everyday life. All of that is just the tip of the iceberg of what we attend to when you start your pilgrimage with the Camino Experience program. If you'd like to check out the 2026 dates and get on the early registration list, you can do that by going to my website, thecaminoexperience.com/walk. Now, there's an important date coming up. That's Thursday, August 21st. That's when the May 2026 group will have their very first group planning and coaching call. So if you're considering walking with the Camino Experience in May 2026, go ahead and put that date on your calendar. And you can find more information about registering on my website, as I just mentioned. If you would like to walk with one of my groups in September 2026, go ahead to the website, but then your first planning and coaching call will be sometime in October. One more thing, if you would like to learn more about our new pilgrim community, La Terraza, which supports pilgrims when they return home from the Camino, you'll find that on my website too. Just look for the menu item called La Terraza, or go to thecaminoexperience.com/La Terraza. Terraza has 2 R's and a Z, by the way. Okay, my friends, are you ready to catch up with Jarrett and Amy? Let's do it. Jarrett and Amy, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have so much to talk about. I'm just going to say, I loved that we got to meet up on the Camino. Not once, but twice. That was so fun. So we're going to tell all the stories. We're going to hear your story and how it went. And I love that we're going to get a couple's perspective, because I think that's an important perspective that we don't get to talk about too often. So we're going to get that. And let's jump in. Who would like to put the pin in the map and share with us what you ended up doing on your Camino Experience?
I guess it's going to be me. So our original plan was we had about 21 days on the trail. We both knew we wanted to do the Pyrenees, so we did that. We started in Saint Jean. We finished up that first little route in Pamplona, took a train from Pamplona to Leon, and then from there we walked out. And I would say we walked out most of the way. We have a couple little stories, I guess, to tell about that, but we did finish it up. My little certificate says 405 kilometers. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
That's amazing. So in terms of what you had planned, how did it go?
I almost feel guilty saying it, to be honest with you, Nancy. It went so well. In fact, that was one of our things. We've been through some ups and downs pretty big time, honestly, since 2008. So life's been pretty crazy. There were times where I was like, is God still with us? Like, are we even doing the right thing in our life? Those kind of moments were in and out a lot. And on the Camino, there were just a few things that I was like, I would love if we got to do this. And about halfway through, I looked at Jarrett and I was like, I think God is just showing off. Like, honestly, everything on my bucket list, if you will, was happening, and even more so. And so actually one of my favorite verses is Ephesians 3:20, and it just talks about God will do more than you can ever imagine, according to his glory and his power. And I was like, I think he's doing that. Well, I know that not every story is going to be like that, but for us at that time in our life, it was really extra special. It was a great trip. We loved it.
Jarrett, anything to add to that before I ask my next question?
Yeah, she's right. Everything was fantastic. We literally only had one day of rain, which is crazy in and of itself. we did have one of our hotels cancel on us, which happened at about midnight or maybe 10:30, and we were in Borda, and I just booked the first thing that was there, and we ended up in the most fantastic. And I didn't even look. It was like the first place I saw. I booked it so I could go to sleep and feel, comfortable that we didn't have this hole in our schedule. So, and it was the most fantastic place we stayed in the whole trip.
We're going to have to name names on that one. So that was Via Avia in Santa Catalina de la Samosa. No, Santa Catalina. Yeah, Santa Catalina de la Samosa.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, our whole trip wasn't perfect by any stretch of the means, but I think your outlook, it has a lot to do with it as well. Like, we got hail
Yes.
on, we got rain, we had our hotel cancel, and then we ended up in this place, and that was actually my biggest turning point, I think, in my lessons for me, was
Mm.
staying at Via Avis. We walked in, it was not on the plan, it changed our walking structure, if you will.
Hmm.
And I was like, if we get there, we're not doing our full walk. Like, what are we gonna do tomorrow? Are we gonna have to, like, walk 18 miles tomorrow? That's crazy. I'm not cut out for that. 12 miles is, like, my good walk. 14, okay. I think we had one day that was, like, 17 was our longest, and that
Mm.
was rough. It was real rough.
Brutal.
It's a big day.
So when we got there, and it was the most, for me and my style, the most beautiful place. I think the night before we'd stayed somewhere with like crunchy towels. Like, it was a great place that we stayed in the night before, but it was like crunchy towels. This place, I mean, had beautiful aesthetics, the mountain views, soft bed, soft towels. So like when you get to that point, you're just like, oh, this is the most luxurious thing I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
We actually had candlelight breakfast. How crazy!
Oh,
How fancy. But I had to really, and I think I was talking to you, Nancy, when I was struggling with that. Like, I wanted to try to do at least this part of the walk the whole way.
hmm
And you were like, sometimes you just get a gift and you really need to kind of look at it and see, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? And that really resonated with me because I had never even thought about this place. And when I get there, I'm just like, this is gorgeous. I would stay here for a
Yeah,
week on vacation if I could.
absolutely.
And so it came to the point where it was like, okay, I need to stay and enjoy, like, what is God trying to offer me through this,
Mm.
instead of just sticking to gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. So I did. And funny enough, I'll let Jarrett, I guess, tell the story so I don't hog on of who we met there too, even after we saw you. Like, I was so glad that you came
Yeah,
because we didn't get a picture in Pamplona. I was like,
that was a race in Pamplona. So just to fill in the gaps for people listening, that was when, after I finished with my group in Pamplona, I picked up a rental car and drove west. And you guys didn't know it, but I was tracking you, so I knew where you were. And it just happened on that day, I was within an hour of you and heading that way anyway. And so I
love
just came
it.
and found you. That's one of the things I love to do, is to just drop in and see people.
Terry was there and she goes, you're Nancy? Nancy from the podcast?
So shout out to Terry. Yes,
Yeah,
let's do a
hey,
shout out to
Terry.
Terry. Here's Jared and Amy from Santa Catalina. Jared, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to mention that you had a little fan moment.
That was very fun.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that was very fun.
So the other thing that was just wild is we met another couple there, and shout out to Barry and Vicky. We love them, and they were there that night, and we had dinner with them and with Terry, and then I think we walked with them a little bit the next day, and then just a tiny bit the next day, because then they were heading off of the Frances route over the Portuguese route.
Okay.
And in that short, short time, I mean, you would have thought we've been together for like 20 years. Like, we are just besties. And we think back, look at it, and we're like, we weren't even supposed to be there. So for us, it was just, you can just look back and just see all these little tangible dots, if you will, connecting. And
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah. It's a chance to go, okay, this isn't going the way I planned or the way I imagined, but it's going the way it's going.
Hmm.
And how am I going to receive that?
Right. Right.
The whole thing was just, we look back on it and we're like, is this real life? Did this really happen the
We
way?
said that a couple times.
Yeah, we did. And, with Barry and Vicky, and, you're standing on top of the Pyrenees, and it was, storming the day before. But when we went up and over, there was, puffy clouds in the sky, and it was gorgeous. So we were just kind of taken back by all the things that happened to us.
And the thing that I'm hearing is you noticed them all. You were so in the moment and so present to what was going on that you saw with open eyes the awe and the wonder before you.
Yeah. I think I try to live my life like that. I feel very connected spiritually to God. So I'm always at least trying to have my eyes open and know where those gifts are coming from. But yeah, when life is muddled, and that was one of my lessons. Like the first 4 days were really muddy on the trail. And like getting from St. Jean to Pamplona, it was so did y'all have that, Nancy, with your group?
You mean literal mud or muddy emotionally? Literal mud.
Deep mud, having to navigate through that. Now it wasn't like ankle deep. I mean, I guess if you stepped in the middle of it, it would have been.
Yeah.
But I mean, it
Yeah.
was muddy. It was my first time going. So for me, I thought it was muddy. I would have to place my pole and go, "Ooh, it's sinking there. Can't go there." And look for
Don't
different
step
footholds
there.
because it took up the whole trail in certain
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah. We had the same. We were only 2 days ahead of you.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was really muddy a lot of times.
Hmm.
And I think on the 3rd, 4th day, like, Jarrett's way ahead of me the whole time anyway, because 'cause I'm very, very, very slow. And I literally out loud was like, "I'm so sick of this mud, digging through this stuff. I thought it was gonna be over now." Like, in the beginning, it was fine, but, 3, 4 days in, I'm already sick of the mud. But in that moment, God was like, "Hey, this is kinda life. Like, you're gonna have to dig
Mm.
through the mud, and you have to keep going because that's what life is about, and you're gonna see the good parts when you get there, but hang in it and keep pushing." And I was like,
Wow.
"Okay."
Okay, I don't want to.
It was cool to see the transformation.
Mm. I'd love to hear more about that, Jarrett.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I went through my own transformation because when you start, you're like, okay, I got to get to Roncesvalles, or I got to get to Zubiri, or whatever, and you're so focused on getting where you are supposed to go, so that you can get a place to sleep or whatever the case may be. And when she was dealing with the mud, I was thinking, okay, we just need to get where we're going. And then I realized
Mm.
the same day she was talking about the mud, when we're walking through the forest right outside of Roncesvalles, there was like by Roland's Cross, there was a couple that walked right past it and never looked at it because they were just going so fast. And Amy's like, "There's Roland's Cross." They completely missed it, and I was like, "Okay, okay, good." That was when God kind of smacked me and said, "Slow down, look around, check it out." Right. And so we did. And then I, I call it frolicking because my wife took a picture of every flower, every sheep, every cow. Right. And I mean, it's fine. Right. We have probably 30 pictures of Camino cats, but I learned that it was how she was enjoying it and internalizing
Mm.
it. So I had to let it go. And then, by the way, shortly after Zubiri, I stopped walking as fast and slowed down to usually her pace. And I got to see a lot more that way. So it was a very good thing for me.
What a gift.
Absolutely.
A little bit of insight, a little bit of paying attention, and that's where the transformation happens.
And I have to say, your tip about look behind you,
Yeah.
always turn around. I literally remembered it to do it, and it was beautiful on the
Yeah.
first 2 days
Yeah.
going up and over the Pyrenees, and then other people would see us looking, and then they would turn around and go, "Oh my goodness." But I also walked backwards a couple of times just to relieve my legs.
Change it up.
It was a lot easier. My lungs could actually, like, recover when I walked backwards.
Oh,
I was like,
interesting.
"Oh, bonus
Okay.
here." So, yeah.
Total bonus. I love that. Yeah, the views going over the Pyrenees are just extraordinary. And if you have clear weather, because not everybody does, sometimes it's just
Right.
plain miserable. And what
Yeah.
you can see is the few steps in front of you and the back of the pilgrim right up ahead. But if
Right.
you've got the vistas, you've got to stop and just enjoy them. They're just extraordinary.
Yeah. That was a huge blessing.
The morning we were in Osobro, we wanted to look back. But when we woke up, we were inside of a cloud. I mean, it was so far. But it was very cool because the candles from the church were kind of lighting the front of the church up. So it was kind of really, really like cool because of the way the colors were bouncing around. And then all of a sudden we walked out of it and it was like crystal clear on the other side of the hill.
Where was this?
So Soprano.
Oh, Sobrero. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, which
wow.
by the way was tough. And then you get up and we stayed in Osobro. Then we got up the next morning. I thought we were at the top. We were not. We had
Nope.
another half mile to go before we went over the top. And I was like, my body was not ready to go
Yeah.
hard uphill that early.
Yeah. And then you got to kick in the mental game and get yourself up and over these mountains. Yeah.
It was just so beautiful though. Like it was a different beautiful, but it was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful walking out in that
Yeah.
misty, cloudy,
Yeah. Just
forest.
beautiful.
Yeah, it was super cool.
So if you think about the whole thing, everything that you did from Saint Jean to Pamplona, from Leon, you picked up again and went to
I did.
Santiago. Was there a favorite part of the trail in terms of terrain, in terms of the mood, in terms of the hospitality? Any favorites?
The bar right before you get to Zubiri, where you come up and you walk over the river, and there's a live band, and there's a vending machine. This is so funny. There's a vending machine with Compeed and Band-Aids and socks. A vending machine. I was like, that's the coolest vending machine ever. But they had live music, great food, and I had walked ahead, and my wife was walking with this Swedish lady and
Corinne.
Corinne, and so I was just waiting for them. And when Amy came over the bridge, somebody from our night at Borda saw her before I did and yelled her name. It was really funny, and that was the moment I realized, okay, this, no matter how we do this, we're always going to be together, whether it's me up front or her up front, or even if we're walking separately that day, we shared it as a couple. We had kind of had a Camino family built in, so we
Yeah.
would, at the end of the day, we would just lay there and just kind of talk about the day and kind of laugh about everything that happened, and then I would pass out because I was exhausted.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that add to the experience to have your partner with you?
Well, she's my best friend.
Aw.
I guess I'll bury the lead. When we were going up and over the Pyrenees, I re-proposed to my wife on the balcony of Orison. So I asked her to marry me again. And we were both pretty tired, but she was like, what's going on here?
Well, I love that you sent the photo. I don't know if you posted it or you sent it to me. I don't remember. And I was like, what'd she say?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I was so stunned, and everybody there at Orson was like, "What'd you say?" I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
And I actually pulled off a surprise.
You pulled off the surprise. That's
I
amazing.
did.
Yeah, I never pull off a surprise with her, but having a couple, and I'll let Amy speak for herself, I always had somebody, like, we walked up on a field of purple, of just lavender as far as you could see, right? And I think it was lavender anyway. And we both stopped, and everybody went past us, and we just sat there and looked at it for a while. Now, she saw something completely different than I did, and our pictures show that, but it was a shared experience
Ah,
that all through the rest of the day we were talking about that and other things, and it was really cool to have my best friend with me, my wife, and also be able to share something at any time about the Camino. So that was being in a couple was great. I loved it.
I also loved it. And I think we talked about a moment where I think raising kids, and especially for me, I get so in and focused on what I'm doing. And so raising 4 kids just was busy. It just felt busy all the time. And so Jarrett took a back seat a lot of the times, and early raising kids through our oldest kid's teenage years. So for probably about 10, 15 years, he traveled internationally. And so, he'd be gone for 2 weeks, home for a week, gone for 2 weeks. Anyway, so it just felt busy, and we have had a great, blessed life. But when we got out on that trail, it was amazing because our kids are all at a pretty good place and we felt comfortable. And we were just able to be us and really not have to navigate so many things with either his job or, helping the kids out with things. It was just us. And we've really had this one funny moment where I was like, Jarrett, my back's hurting. And I brought like a half of a yoga mat. I cut it because I need to stretch to release. I have like a pinched nerve in my back. And so I was like, I need to get on my yoga mat and stretch for just a few minutes. And this is after the fact. I could tell that he had slowed down and was not as like, hey, come on, we got to go. We got to keep a pace. He was definitely slower at this point, and it was great for me. But I was laying down and also had a blister that I was taking care of. And we were just laying there. Like, I don't remember the last time, honestly, because we go to the beach. So when we go to the beach, we take our chairs and we hang out. But I don't remember the last time we've laid in a field together and just laughed and giggled and looked at the clouds. And that's what we were doing. And then this guy walks by and he has a speaker and he is just having the best time. He's singing. I don't even know if he saw us, but
He was singing and dancing.
we just laughed at how much fun he was having. He was a young kid. And then 2 ladies stop us and they're like, hey, are you okay? And we're like, oh, yeah. We're just, having a good time, had a blister. And we start telling about this guy. And I was like, I had to take a picture of him. I wanted to remember this moment. She goes, that's my son. I was like,
Oh, so sweet.
we saw them every few days, and it just led to even more of a great moment to, connect with them and stuff. So
Very sweet.
yeah, it was great.
Mm.
I recommend it for everyone that likes their barnyard, I guess.
Well, that is key, right? I mean, you might not want to go walk the Camino as marriage therapy or couples therapy, but who knows? Who knows?
That's absolutely right. There's a lot of stress on the Camino, but it's different kind of stress, right? It's back aches or foot aches or
Should we tell about my bad day?
no.
I was gonna say, as a couple, no, I think it's good because I don't remember the lady's name. Do you remember the lady's name that we had lunch with, or that you had lunch with?
No.
She's writing a book, and I don't remember her name, but I need to apologize to her. She saw the worst side of me that you could ever see.
Oh, no.
Oh, it was
Okay.
bad. We were coming down into Molinseca.
Molina Seca. Tough descent. Yes.
Oh, yeah. We stayed in El Acebo, so we even cut some of it off. So,
Okay.
yeah, we were coming in, but I was hungry. I think we skipped eating or whatever. I don't know what we did.
We skipped second breakfast.
Ah, tragic.
I love second breakfast. Can't do that. But I told Jarrett before we got down and where you could see the town, I said, hey, I'm really hungry, which in my mind means, hey, I'm really hungry. Let's stop pretty quick and eat. And I see the first place with the umbrellas down by the river. And I'm thinking, yes, there's food and we're going to stop. And he keeps walking. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm behind him and I'm like, hey, I'm hungry. I need to stop. And he goes, well, I just want something different. Let's just see what else they have. He literally got to the last place in town. And I was overtired, over hungry, and I was mean. And I just was like, it's funny the way I dealt with it, though. I just got so frustrated. I said, I just need to go for a walk. And I got up and left.
I need to go for a walk. I'm on a walk and I need to go for a walk.
I need to excuse myself from this table. Goodbye. But I don't think I was that nice about it.
Okay, Jared, what's your telling?
No, she's absolutely right. I mean, I will say this. When you're on the Camino, fueling your body is important. And you laugh about second breakfast, but you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. It's an essential part of the day.
It is key, people. Do not skip it. Do not skip your areas either.
You need your fuel.
Yeah, so I just wanted something other than a sandwich, right? And so, so the last place had salads, and they even had like spaghetti bolognese and a couple other things. So it's like, okay, cool, this is something different. And Amy was having none of it, and so
I did wonder. I was like, "Oh my gosh." Okay, so we just had a moment where like I'm so ticked off at him. He's angry at me. Do other couples have this? And I was like, "Oh no." But I did find out. Yes, indeed. So we met some friends and they talked about and shared their moment too. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I guess it's a thing."
Yeah.
but you got to figure it out fast because you're on the Camino, and it's not like I can get away from her.
Yeah. You can't go for a drive and cool off.
Yeah. I went for my walk to cool off.
Yeah.
That is funny. I love that. Just love
Well,
that.
actually, our friends that said they had that same experience, he started laughing. He goes, "That's exactly what I did. I had to
Uh-huh.
go for a walk."
Just walk the other way.
Just, "Yep,
Yeah.
bye. See you later."
That is funny. So, what advice would you have for couples planning to walk the Camino together?
First thing, get to know your partner's backpack, because you're going to be in their backpack pulling things out for them more
Oh,
than they will.
okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to take your backpack off your back. You just say, "Hey, can you get this for me?"
Okay. There was a lot of that, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, there was actually a woman I met like first day, and she's like, "Hey, can you get my water bottle for me?" I'm like, "Sure." But then when I went to put it up, I was like, "Oh, I can't figure out where this fits in here." So, yeah, get practice on your practice walks right before you leave, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Who'd have thought of that?
Where'd they go? Communication, and we knew it, and that's what was so funny is after my little hissy fit, I was like, "Okay, what went wrong?" And I was like, "I guess I just didn't speak clearly enough to say, 'I'm hungry and I really wanna stop at the first place we see,'
Yeah.
or 'I'm gonna need you to order for me.'" I was so tired, like, the menu, as far as I remember, was all in Spanish, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, "I
Yeah.
none of it just looks like another ham sandwich, so I don't know what to do."
And why did we walk farther for another ham sandwich?
Yeah, exactly. No, I found a cool place that had, like, little baskets of trail mix, and I wish I woulda gotten more, but I was like, "I don't know what this is," so I was buying, like, tiny little bits and pieces.
But it was an experience. I mean, that was part of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What else? Advice for other couples?
I would also say that staying in private rooms. Okay, so uh, if you're staying in an albergue, right, one that you're paying for, right, it's usually 15 or 17 bucks a person.
Yeah.
We stayed in a private room because 15 times 2 is 30. So I was like, okay, some of my rooms were as low as $42. I mean, so, and we got our own bathroom and a shower. So most of the time it was literally, maybe a third more. So looking into that, I guess the other thing is share food, because all the food is so fantastic that you should just order one of everything and then share it.
I like that.
And we did find a new drink, Tinto de Verano.
Okay, tell us what that is.
That's the wine of the summer, I think is how what it translates to. And it's basically, it sounds so weird. It's lime soda and red wine.
Okay, and I see you're both drinking one of those.
We are now. Yes, we are.
It's 7 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly. It was so refreshing by the end of the day, like, our last stop, that is always what we got,
Okay.
and it's a little too refreshing. They go down real quick.
Is there an umbrella, tiny little umbrella in that drink, or is it just
No.
no? So there's not even a warning sign.
Yeah, no umbrellas.
The other thing, by the way, is know the signs. Like, I should have seen the signs for my wife getting hungry, and like, I start dragging my feet. Like, when you see me start tripping a little bit here and
Mm.
there, we should take a break. And so we just kind of got into a rhythm. By the time I think we were basically in Hospital de Obradeo, and it was by then that we were pretty in tune with each other, but we still messed up in Malasenga. So, because I just missed it, I guess. But that's the advice I would give, and it's great. I don't think I could do like other people do the Camino by themselves. I don't think I could do it without my wife.
Oh, why do you say that?
Because it's such a great shared experience.
Oh,
And all the people we talk to at home that haven't walked it, they don't want to really hear all the I saw this cat and and I got a wax stamp here, right?
and do you remember when? And then we did this, and she said this, and oh my gosh, it was so funny. Yeah.
Right. So having that built in person to kind of
Yeah.
chat about the day and all the cool things was great.
Agreed. And we're talking to one of our daughters that started thinking she wanted to go when we were going, and it just didn't work out. And so we're already planning our next one.
Okay.
Planning for next May to start around the same time and walk from St. Jean to at least Burgos. So depending
Okay.
on his PTO. But we saw lots of moms and daughters. And so I started asking Jarrett, because I would love to walk with our daughter. But I also turned it around. I was like, oh my gosh, but if you walked with her without me, like I would be so sad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't struggle with it. If that's what she wanted, I wouldn't struggle with it. But I mean, maybe I would. Anyway, so I asked him, I was like, well, how would you feel if it was just me and Emma? Like, wouldn't you be sad? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So that was part of it where we were talking, where we were like, I mean, could we do it separately? Sure. But if we don't have to, we don't want to, because it's just too
Oh,
fun to keep living it and I don't know, having those good times, I guess.
I love
We had a
it.
ball, Nancy. We had a ball.
Tell me about arriving in Santiago. What was that like?
That was different. Um, it was different for us. It was different than I expected, and I think Amy too. We were running ahead of schedule the day before, so we were like, okay, we'll just go ahead and walk into Santiago, right? And it didn't happen that way. One of Amy's friends called us, and
I think Amy would like to interject something here.
So I was the one that had read somewhere about stopping in Lava Cola, and that was like ritual pilgrims, clean themselves, not so stinky anymore. And I thought, oh, that's gonna be so cool to stay in Lava Cola, and then we just have a 6 mile walk in. And the day before, we were really toying with trying to move our timing and walk more and all of that, because we were trying to walk in at the same time as other people.
Okay.
So no one else was chopping it like we were. And we were like, oh, maybe we should walk in. And so we were on our way to do that. And then all of a sudden, I came up over a hill and there was a house. I wish I could remember the song playing. It was an old 80s song that I connected with immediately. So somebody just had music on and was working on their house. And I stopped dead in my tracks and I started crying. And I was like, I don't want to finish. I don't want to
Oh,
end. And so for me, that was way more of an emotional connection, if you will, to the end of it than
okay.
Santiago. When I walked into Santiago, I was like, well, it was barely a walk. I'm not even tired. Nobody's here.
A little anticlimactic.
Yeah, very anticlimactic, except we ran into Sammy and her dad, Lee. So he is from Australia and he has a 10-year-old, and they were walking the entire thing. So we
Wow.
see them.
he woke his daughter up and said, "Hey, you want to go for a hike?" And she said yes. He's like, "Okay, well, it's in Spain." Okay, and I was asking Sammy about this, the 10-year-old, and she goes, "He didn't tell me it was going to take 45 days."
Oh, God.
It was really funny, but it
The
was just him and his
best.
daughter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think they have some amazing stories, and I just think that's
Oh,
so cool to have that experience with your kid
so
and so young.
formative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so great. So we saw them and he goes, "Hey, I just got some information. I think the incense burner's gonna fly." And I was like, "Oh, Jared, go put our bags up. We're going." And so everything we thought we had planned for hanging out in front of the cathedral and
Okay.
enjoying that, nope, we're going to mass. Let's go. And it was great. And it was again, I'm so sorry, I forget the name of it, but it was
Botu Fumero.
the Botafumeiro.
Mhm.
did indeed fly, and it was a very special experience, and it was really cool.
Yeah, you're gonna make me cry.
It was awesome.
Oh,
We did go back the next day and sit there and watch some pilgrims come in, and
okay.
it's not like we didn't get the experience. It was just different.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got it all in,
Oh
just in
yeah.
a
We
different
did.
order.
We did. Yeah,
It sounds amazing.
we did, and then some. Someone recommended to go on a rooftop tour of the cathedral.
Did you do
That was
it?
kinda scary.
Yeah.
If you don't like heights, it may not be your thing.
Yeah. I can't get excited about that. I don't know. All my years. No thanks. Yeah. Good times. So I remember back when we talked before your Camino. I don't want to use too strong of a word, but well, maybe we're a little focused or obsessed or really into the planning process. How has your focus or obsession been since you've come home?
That's an interesting question. Well, I challenged my wife to get down to 100 pictures to show everything that we did on the Camino and explain what it was to hike the Camino. Now, mind you, between the two of us, we have, I think, 4,200 pictures, right?
Probably right.
And she did take a picture of every flower. So it was very interesting watching her get down to which I don't think you ever got to 100, did you?
Not yet. We're at 150.
Okay.
So like, how do you leave this off? How do you leave this off? Right.
Yeah.
So we've kind of focused on that.
We just fill in a new obsession, it sounds like.
Yeah. Our neighbors came over and said, "So how was your trip?" And honestly, I didn't know what to say.
Oh,
I wasn't ready to really talk about it. So we've been really focused on, okay, what really happened and what do we get out of it? So that's what we've been talking about a lot.
okay.
We've been talking about that a lot, but I'm telling you, Nancy, words just they escape me. I'm like,
Mm,
I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what it is. And I remember hearing Richard and Claire, previous guests of yours that have
yeah.
been on, and we've met them through some of the phone calls. And I was like, I just didn't get it. Like they were talking about, well, it's really hard after. And of course, I hadn't even done the walk. And I'm like, really? Oh
Yeah.
no, I totally get it now. And now I'm like, it's really hard to get in those walks. Of course, it's very hot outside, but
Yeah.
until Jarrett said, I have something for you to listen to. And we went into your app. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that yet, but
Well, I'm going to ask you some questions about it because
okay.
I want to talk about it. I am so
Mhm.
darn excited about this thing. And I know you are too. So how about I set the stage for that?
Okay, sounds
All
great.
right, good. Because Jarrett and Amy, my friends, have been part of the advisory team to me to help me put this together and are two of the founding members of the La Terraza community. So I think by now people have heard the phrase La Terraza and they know that it's the terrace where pilgrims gather to share in the spirit of the Camino. And I want to ask you some questions about La Terraza from your perspective, if I may.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Please.
So what made you want to be a part of the La Terraza community? What was it that caught your
I
attention?
think honestly, just you and knowing just how much attention that you have given already on the podcast that you do and with the audio guidebook.
Hmm.
I mean, I would never say I would probably never say no to anything you asked of me, but that you just do things in a way that is so thorough and complete and exciting and draws you in. I mean, I struggle with words.
So
So,
you actually said to us at one point, "I'm not ready to talk about it. It's still brewing." I think that you were saying that when we saw you in via Avis, and so I was like, "Huh. I guess she's not ready to talk about it. She doesn't. She doesn't, you know." And then all of a sudden, you come back like, what was it, like 3 weeks later, and you kind of cast that vision. And I was like, "Oh, wow. Okay, she thinks big, and
mhm.
she thinks deep. You're not a mile wide and an inch thick. You're a mile wide and a mile deep. You've really thought about it, and the reason I wanted to be part of it is because I wanted to have the ability to kind of share my experience and learn from others. Because the first thing I did when we started opening up to the advisory team was, okay, how do you guys explain the Camino when somebody asks you? Because I don't know, help me here. And it was very interesting to hear. But it's cool because they've helped give me words when I don't. I kept talking about static, right?
Mm-hmm.
The world has so much static, right? Cell phones, computers, you got to be here and do this, got to do that, and all of that disappeared, and so there was no static, and life was so different. Then I got back, and the static was back, and I didn't know how to express how I felt on the Camino.
How's it going now?
Better, but I think I mean, Amy, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're still learning.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely still learning and wading through, but I love what you named the app because Jarrett shared one of our favorite memories from the Camino, and it was that bar that was on the riverside
On the terrace.
and it was the most amazing experience. We'd literally been walking 2 or 3 days, but people recognized you. "Hey, come over here," and it was just such a great moment, like, it was perfection in that moment. And so now that I'm in the app, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, you literally have recreated that moment on an app," and I'm like, my mind is kind of blown, to be honest with you, because I'm just like, "This is so cool." Anytime I wanna be like, "Hey, I'm getting off the trail and going to, the little cafe, restaurant, bar over here to meet some friends," I'm like, "Boop, there it is," and it's genuine, and they've been the same place, and I think that's what's so special about the Camino, is that everybody's on the same track,
Yeah.
to wherever it is you're going. Most people it is Santiago, but if you can't finish and, whatever, you're still got that same mindset and focus. And everybody is genuinely excited to be there or to help whoever comes in front of you. And there's nothing I've experienced quite like that. And so I'm finding that same experience within the app.
And it's not Facebook, it's not Instagram or
No.
TikTok. There's no ads, there's no static. It's literally you having a real conversation with a person that you've connected with, that you are starting to get to know. And so it's almost like building an off trail Camino family. And if you're planning to go, right, and you have not yet gone, or you've gone and you're getting ready to do a different trail, there's the people that are in the community are such a great resource.
They are. And I can't wait. It's probably going to be maybe November when we open it up to first-time pilgrims getting ready. Once we get a solid base of people who have already walked. And then the people who come in who are getting ready are going to have this group of mentors just right there. And I think you hit on it. It's laser focused on you and on the pilgrim and on what you need. That's the whole goal of this, that it's all about you. No static, no noise. And I love the conversations you all have been having. Jarrett, you posted a question and I was reading the responses and my jaw kept dropping, the wisdom that people were just dropping into the comments just based on your one question about how do I tell the story.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of where the static thing came from. I think there was a guy on there that was like, it's almost like you've got interference, and you're talking, but they're not hearing what you're saying.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. And also, and I'll let Amy feel this when we listen to you also have education on there, or
Yes.
not education, but
it's an online course.
It's an online course. Yeah. We listened to that and we're like, oh my, first of all, you've got an incredible, like, radio voice. You could read the phone book and I would find it interesting. But the audio for those courses, actually, we'd have to stop it and talk about it. It was like, wow, okay, that is a different way of looking at it. And so I won't spoil anything. It's great. The content was fantastic, and I know you've got a lot more coming. And I wish
Yeah.
I thought like you, because I don't.
No, I don't at all, and I've been so impressed with how Jarrett mentioned earlier how deep you think. I'm impressed with how fast you do things, like, and get it all together. But for me, it was so, I guess, mind-blowing. I don't know how else to say it, but, like, I've been trying to come up with, like, what did the Camino mean to me? How do I do this? And then in the education part, you took us through, like, "Hey, I need you to think about your first moment on the Camino. Think about your first big memory." Yeah, and it really, the points that you had lead us through that really helped me develop. I think I have, like, 3 pages of notes
Oh,
over here
wow.
from that where I was like, "Okay, this is what I needed was," and I told Jared, I said, without that, it's almost like would it have just sat in the back of my mind and
Hmm.
never come forward to even utilize and to kinda grow and use from there."
Yeah.
So,
And my thought is, let's go walk the Camino and have a great experience. But you just invested so much time and money in getting this thing going and getting it off the ground. You come home, let's have it mean even more than 3 great weeks in Spain. Let's have it be an experience that fills your life and moves you in the direction you want to go.
well, and I think because it is, and it does mean so much more to people, but if you don't have that outlet or you don't have the coaching, if you will,
Hmm.
on how to dig into it and how to share it, yeah, it's just gonna sit there and
Yeah. When I read Jarrett's, the question I referred to, I wish I had it in front of me, but I remember my thought was what came to me really clearly is when we're telling our Camino stories, there's the story that people want to hear, which often is 30 seconds or less. There's the story we want to tell or to share. And then there's your story that's just for you to take out of the experience and bring into your life. And that's what we're going to pull apart. That's what we're going to flesh out, I guess would be a way to say it, with the course inside the community.
It's fantastic. It really makes you think. It really does.
Yeah. I've got another one. It should be up Monday or Tuesday. Depends on when I get the podcast ready for next week. But it's new material for even me. And I started doing some research and I was like, oh my gosh.
yeah, I
So
can't wait. I
yeah.
mean, again, like, when we first found your podcast, we were just instantly connected
Mhm.
and just drawn in by all the wisdom, and then I don't know, you just make it so personable. It's like you're literally talking just to us, and so you
Oh,
just have a way of
yeah.
connecting and drawing in, and so I was like, "Oh my goodness, you're doing it again. I had no idea you could do this."
I really appreciate hearing that it's landing the way that I intended to. So thank you. That means a lot to me. And I get to know you guys, I mean, I have just some wonderful friendships from the podcast, from leading groups, and now from this project and this community. And the great thing about this isn't going to end. This is how we keep the Camino spirit alive.
If you don't use this, if you don't use this experience to better yourself and your surroundings, then you just went on the walk. And I wanted to bring it home. I want to bring the kindness of others, the family part of it, the exercise part of it, the beauty, right? The non-static interferency stuff. I wanted to bring it home, but it's just so hard. And this community actually, because others have been through it and they've been through it years ago and they're still working on it too, but they have a little more experience. So them giving us that advice was some of their advice has just been fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's going to keep getting better and better. A perfect example of that, Jarrett, is Paul, who was on the podcast a week or so ago. He walked the Camino in 2018. And the moment he got my invitation to be one of the founding members, he jumped on it and he said, this is what I've been missing. And so for me, I'm like, yay, we hit it. And I couldn't have done it without you guys and without the team to help me determine what you need. And so honestly, I'm just giving you what you told me you needed. And so we're all here to do something, and that's what I'm here for.
Well, thank you. And thank you for taking that initiative and keep going. Like, you are gifted. So thank you for sharing your gift.
Thank you.
You had an earlier podcast where someone said they had read a book and they used the word sticky with the Camino. And I'm like,
That's
what
it.
is it? Like, you can
Yeah.
meet people that walked it 10, 15 years ago and they still just get so excited. We met a guy that was working, one of the employees at REI, and he's like, I walked like 10 years ago, and he
Yeah.
got so emotional sharing his pictures. He started crying, and I was like, what are we about to do, Jarrett?
We want to do this?
No, I just was so excited because you don't know and you can't figure it out. We're like, why are all these people so emotional about this walk? And,
Yeah.
just what is it that these people are experiencing? And
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
And it was a different kind of what did we get ourselves into than when we were walking up the Pyrenees and we thought we were at the top, and then you go a little farther and you're still going up, and then you think you're at the top. And halfway up the Pyrenees, you're like, oh my God, what have we done? What are we thinking? Why are we doing this? And then it was a different kind of what have we got ourselves into? Because that trek over the Pyrenees that first day is you're like, okay, well, we're at the top, and it just keeps on going up.
How many false summits were there? Maybe 3 where we're at the top. Oh, no, we're not. Oh, we're at oh, not yet. Okay.
Yeah. I just told him, I was like, please stop saying we're at the top because I just want to be surprised when we get there. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I always say, listen, guys, to my groups, I will tell you when you're at the top. You are not at the top. Just
And then
keeps going.
we missed the top. Like, we saw everybody sitting and eating their lunches because we had a packed lunch from Borta. And then we kept going. And I was like, oh, I guess we'll have these views, which were still pretty, but
Now
Oh,
you're
well.
getting all fussy about your Pyrenees views.
Exactly.
Right.
The bar has been raised, my friends.
Yes, it has.
So speaking of that, and let me say thank you for all of your kind words. It just really, it's validating to know that I'm on the right track. And the point I want to have sort of as a takeaway is I'm doing this because I brought the Camino home and into my life. If I hadn't put in the work to bring this home and to have it actually mean something, it would have been just a nice walk I did 20 years ago. And
Yeah.
so what I want people to take away, the real reason we're gathering in community in the new community, La Terraza, is so that people can have in their lives what they're meant to be doing and who they're meant to be. And we do that by doing it together in community, but actually putting the effort and the attention to it. And that's what my vision is.
And it's a great vision. I thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing it.
I want everyone to come with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people can find, if you haven't found your gifts yet, and if you're not using your gifts yet, let's get them out there because the world needs us. The world needs us doing what we're good at and bringing more good stuff.
And you really wish the whole world was like the Camino when people stop and ask if you're okay. And, they actually care about the people around them and not just hustling from one thing to the other. So, yeah.
We're going to slow it down. We're going to crack this code.
Yep.
Anything else you'd like to say about your Camino experience before we wrap up?
I will say one thing.
Okay.
When you get to the top of the Pyrenees and you get to the food truck, you buy the cheese. You're not going to eat the whole block of cheese. You're not going to do it. And if you do, you're in trouble. But buy the block of cheese. It's fantastic. And then just share it with everybody else.
It's so good.
Oh, my God.
Cheap's cheese. And the man who runs the food van, it's from his farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jarrett, when I went up there, I was like, oh, that's a huge hunk of cheese.
Yeah, do it.
I was like, well, okay. And then Jarrett bought it, but he's walking around to everybody going, you want to try some cheese? You want to try some cheese?
So good. And by the way, just for clarification, since we were just talking about false summits, that truck is not at the top.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Nowhere near.
But when you're walking above the clouds, all of it's the top. You know what I mean?
Let's say it's not at the high point then. So you're still going to go up a lot after that food van. I love it. All right, guys. Well, I just love hanging out with you no matter when it is, no matter what it is. I don't know. I'm just going to come to Florida and visit you and I don't know.
That would be awesome.
Doors open.
I'm going to have some of that Tinto Verano, whatever you call
Yeah,
it.
it's so good.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me, and go do another Camino so I can have you back on the podcast.
Thank you, Nancy.
And, listen, anyone listening, you want to meet Jarrett and Amy and hang out with them, join us in La Terraza. That's where we're all hanging out. All right, guys.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Love
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye, Nancy. It was great. Thank you.